classes, DO Nalgonda. Our DO sir has taken a great initiative to reach out each and every child in this present pandemic situation. This is a time where every child needs a good learning material which is available in the form of videos prepared by our beloved teachers. I am privileged to be the part of this digital content. And today I am here with the unit entitled Women Empowerment, Class 8, Unit 7. Children, do you know what is empowerment? Let me tell you one example. Parvati, a 20-year-old woman, stopped her education long back and she got married a village person who is well settled in that village. As she is not educated, she doesn't have any means of earning. And as she is married to a well-known person, she is not allowed to work outside the society, in the society. Now, she can't take decisions inside the house as well as outside the house. Just imagine the situation. Here arises the question of women empowerment. As Parvati is dependent on her husband for each and everything. Children, women empowerment is encouraging women in all the aspects of the society. Let's go deep into the lesson.
Let's go to the lesson, children. Class 8, Unit 7, theme Women Empowerment. Reading A, Bonsai Life Part 1. Reading B, Bonsai Life Part 2. Reading C, I can take care of myself. Let's go for face sheet. Who are there in the face sheet? Savitribai Phule, Sarojini Naidu, Mother Teresa, Sania Mirza, Sunita Williams, Lata Mangeshkar, a doctor, a teacher, a sportswoman, an advocate. Savitribai Phule. Savitribai Phule was an Indian social reformer, educationist and poet from Maharashtra. She is regarded as the first female teacher of India. Along with her husband Jyotirao Phule, she played an important and vital role in improving women's rights in India. She is regarded as a mother of Indian feminism. Phule and her husband founded one of the first Indian girls' school in Pune in 1848. She worked to abolish the discrimination and unfair treatment of people based on caste and gender. Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu was an Indian political activist and poet. She was an important figure in Indian struggle for independence. Naidu's work as a poet earned her the sobriquet Nightingale of India by Mahatma Gandhi. She was called Bharat Kokila by Rabindranath Tagore. She was appointed as the President of Indian National Congress in 1925 and later became the Governor of United Provinces in 1947, becoming the first woman to hold the office of Governor in India. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was honored in the Catholic Church as a Saint Teresa of Calcutta. She was an Albanian, Indian, Roman Catholic nun. After 18 years, she moved to Ireland and then to India, where she lived for the most of her life. In 1950, Teresa founded the Missionaries of Charity that had over 4,500 nuns and was active in 133 countries in 2012. The congregation manages homes for people who are dying of HIV or AIDS, leprosy and tuberculosis. Sania Mirza. She is an Indian professional tennis player, a former doubles world's number 1. She has won 6 Grand Slam titles in her career. From 2003 until her retirement from singles in 2013, she was ranked by the Women's Tennis Association as India's number one player. Throughout her career, Mirza has established herself as by far the most successful Indian female tennis player ever and one of the highest paid and most high profile athletes in the country. Sunita Williams. Sunita Williams is an Indian American astronaut and a United States Navy officer who formerly held the records for most spacewalks by a woman, 7, and most spacewalk time for a woman, 50 hours and 40 minutes. Williams was assigned to the International Space Station as a member of Expedition 14 and Expedition 15. Lata Mangeshkar. She is one of the best known and most respected playback singers in India. She has recorded songs in over 1,000 Hindi films and in several languages. She got Padma Bhushan in 1969, Dada Saheb Phalke Award in 1989, Padma Vibhushan in 1999 and Bharat Ratna in 2001. Actually, children, why these people are here in our face sheet? Here we'll know the question of women empowerment. Women empowerment refers to an opportunity given to a woman to make their own decisions and prove themselves. It means that women must be able to face any challenge and should be able to control life without depending on others. Women must be given equal rights in all the aspects of the society. How does women empowerment help women? Now, look at this. Making decisions for self in her life, developing positive attitude, solving problems of the society, facing any kind of situation, ability to learn more skills and more and more. In simple words, she will stand on her own feet without depending on others. Now, coming to the author, Aburi Chaya Devi. Aburi Chaya Devi was a Telugu Indian creative feminist. Now, what do you mean by feminist? Feminist is a person who fights for female rights, and she is a fiction writer. She was a fiction writer. She has written many short stories and essays. She won the Sahitya Akademi Award in Telugu for the year 2005 for her work Tana Margam. This is a collection of short stories. Now, Bonsai Life Part 1. Children, do you know what is bonsai? Bonsai is a Japanese art form which utilizes cultivation techniques to produce in containers small trees that mimic the shape and scale of full-size trees. Bonsai uses cultivation techniques like pruning, root reduction, potting, defoliation and grafting to produce small trees that mimic the shape and style of the mature full-size trees. Actually, our reading passage is primarily written in Telugu as Bonsai Bratukulu, which is translated by Alladi Uma and M. Sridhar. Now look at the bonsai trees, children. Bonsai trees. These are beautiful, right? Yeah, these are so beautiful. Look at this. Now look at the bonsai banyan tree and normal banyan tree. normal banyan tree which grows in the ground is so huge. It can give shelter to many of the birds, and we can use the tree for many things. Whereas the bonsai banyan tree, this is very cute and beautiful, but we can't use this tree for shelter, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, now let's enter into the reading A, Bonsai Life Part 1. The moment I see letters waiting for me on the doorstep when I return from work, I can't contain my excitement. It's almost as if I'm face to face with my near and dear ones and they are speaking affectionately to me. Instantly, the exhaustion of office work vanishes and my heart grows light. Instead of entering kitchen, muttering, "Oh no, oh God," which is what I usually do when I come back tired, I feel like singing a song, humming a tune, making a nice cup of coffee, and savoring each sip. What is more, the sight of inland letters or envelopes in a familiar hand gives me the energy and enthusiasm to quickly make and eat some pakodas or bhajis. Even though I'm lazy about writing letters, I love to receive one from some place or the other every day. Now, children, I can't contain. What do you mean by I can't contain? Can't contain means not able to hold feelings. Not able to hold feelings. When the narrator comes from office work, when she sees a letter, she will feel very happy. She is not able to hold her feelings and excitement. Excitement means happiness. So she just after seeing the letter, she feels like their affectionate ones are face to face with her and talking to her. Instantly the exhaustion. What is exhaustion? Extreme tiredness. A working woman when comes back to the home, she'll feel very tired, right? So once her exhaustion will vanishes means disappear, and her heart grows very light and she feels very happy, and she goes into the kitchen unlike daily muttering, "Oh no, oh God," and that day when she receives the letter, she will feel like making some pakodas and bhajis and singing a song, humming a tune, and savoring each cup. Savoring means tasting each cup of coffee. Now the author is very lazy about writing letters, but she loves to receive the letters. This is an unexpected letter. If my Akaya, who does not normally write, went out her way to write a letter, there has to be a reason. As I open the letter, I am little apprehensive. I hope it is not some bad news. Actually, when the things are fine, no one bothers to write. So that was a unexpected letter for the author. If my Akaya, the letter came from her Akaya. Akaya means her sister. Okay, so her sister doesn't write the letters normally, but that day the letter came from her sister. So the author was little tensed. Now, what was there in the letter? Let's see. Amalu or Amalu, you must be very surprised to receive my letter. You would be even more surprised if I were to tell you that your Babagaru and I are coming to your place. We have been planning for a quite while to visit Kasi and Haridwar. We have now found the time. I hope you won't find our visit inconvenient. So what was there in the letter? It was not bad news, it was a good news. So it was there that Akaya and Babagaru, means her sister and her husband, are coming to the author, the narrator, They were planning to visit Kashi and Haridwar, and they were coming to her house. My dear, it seems Akkaya and Bavagaru are coming over, I said to my husband excitedly. Is it true? When? Where is it? Give me the letter, he said, and pulled the letter from my hand. I went into the kitchen to get the coffee and the other things ready. Now, so when she read the letter, she told her husband that her sister and her Bavagaru are coming to her house, and her husband was equally delighted, and he was also very happy, and he asked her that when they are coming and where was the letter, and he pulled the letter from the author's hand. And soon the narrator went to the kitchen to get coffee and other things ready. And Akkaya and Bavagaru were coming to this city in our home for the first time since my marriage. I had looked forward to their visit all these years. They had never left their village to go anywhere using children, cattle, cooking, etc. as excuses. They had always avoided moving out. Under such circumstances, imagine their coming to our house and to this big city. Now, Akkaya and Bavagaru never left their village. They live in their village, and they never left their village. It was the first time since the narrator's marriage they were coming to narrator's house, and the narrator was thinking a lot about her, Akkaya and Bavagaru. Now, Akkaya is not as educated as me. By not as educated, I mean Nanagaru did not let her study after class 5. Of what use was education for a girl? Those were the days when people thought it was enough if a girl was able to keep the washerman's account. A decade later, when I was born, there wasn't much debate as to whether a girl should have education or not. I was lucky that my father changed with the times. He didn't even hesitate to send me to college. No girl who is well educated can be satisfied with staying at home, being a housewife, and looking after the household after marriage. She would want to put her education to good use and achieve something in life. I too was driven by the same desire. Even though my husband had a good job, I took up one as well. Now, as the time passed on, father has changed, and he didn't even hesitate to send the narrator to the college. Now, education changes the mind, right? So, the narrator is not satisfied to be as a housewife and looking after the household after marriage. Even though her husband has a good job, he took up one job, and she settled, and she got settled, right? Next, because Akkaya was not educated, she was married to a man from the village. Though my Bavagaru was educated, his ideals made him choose agriculture as his profession, and he settled down in the village to cultivate his land. Akkaya grew accustomed to the village. Now, so Akkaya is not educated, she was married to a man from the village, right? Now, so then to Bavagaru, means her sister's husband, was educated. His ideals made him choose agriculture as his profession, and he settled down in the village, and Akkaya grew accustomed to the village life. So what do you mean by accustomed? Accustomed means getting habit. Okay. Because Akkaya was not educated, she was married to a man from the village. Though my Bavagaru was educated. His ideals made him choose agriculture as his profession, and he settled down in the village to cultivate his land. Akaya grew accustomed to the village life. Now, as the Akaya was not educated, she was married to a man from the village, and as but Bavagaru was educated, but his ideals made him choose agriculture as his profession, and he settled down in the village. Now, Akaya grew accustomed to the village life. What is accustomed? Accustomed means get used to it. So, Akaya got used to it, to the village life. Akaya brought so many things: cucumber, gongura, drumsticks, apparams, vadiyams, and coconuts. I hope you don't mind. I have brought you all these things like kuchela. I don't know whether you like them or not, she said rather hesitantly. Children, do you know the story of Kuchela? Now, Kuchela was a friend and ardent devotee of Lord Krishna. He was a poor Brahmin. He could not afford to even feed his family. One day, his wife asked him to seek Lord Krishna's help. He took a small bag of beaten rice and thought to gift it to Lord Krishna. When he reached the palace, one guard took pity on Kuchela and told Sri Krishna about his arrival. Kuchela reluctantly gave the beaten rice to Lord, who savored every grain. Kuchela was too embarrassed to ask Sri Krishna anything and left the palace empty handed. But Lord Krishna knew everything, right? So his powers changed his hut into palace filled with riches. Stunned Kuchela thanked Lord Krishna and remained his ardent devotee. So this is the story of Kuchela. Here Akaya brought so many little things to her sister who had everything. So she is asking her to not to mind anything. So she is saying, I hope you don't mind. I have brought you all these things like Kuchela. Then the narrator says, why do you say that? You have actually brought all the things we wanted. We don't get these things here. If your Maridi has gongura pulusu, cucumber pappu and drumstick charu, he feels as elated as if he has had a sumptuous feast. With my office work, I am unable to make apparams and vadiyams. Even if I have some free time, I am too lazy to do such work. You know me, don't you? I said with a laugh. That's true. But by the time you come back from office, you must be dead tired. How can you then prepare apparams and vadiyams and make idlis and dosas? I don't know how you are able to manage work at home and in the office. Akaya consoled me. So Akaya is so worried about the narrator, and she was asking how she manages all the household works and the office at the same time. What a wretched job. Sometimes I feel like giving it up. You know, people say solve your problems at home before you solve those outside. To neglect work at home and look after office work is an uphill task for a woman. I said, speaking from experience. So a narrator is so tired doing her job and she feels like giving it up. So she wanted to leave the job. She says that people say solve the problems at home before solving the problems outside. To neglect work at home and look after office work is an uphill task for a woman. Then Akaya consoles her, saying, don't think like that, Amalu. How fortunate you are. Touch wood. You have studied well, have a job like a man, and are earning very well. You don't have to beg anyone for anything. You are able to lead a dignified life, unlike us, who have to depend on our husbands even for a few paise worthy of Karivepaku, said Akaya. Then Akaya said not to leave the job. She says that the narrator is so fortunate that she's doing a job like a man and earning very well. She says that she doesn't have to beg anyone. Now, what do you mean by the grass is greener on the other side? It means that the others are in a better position than us. So, Akaya is thinking that the narrator is in a better position than she. Okay. Now, the narrator changed the topic at once. Then asked the question, what her daughter is doing now. She is in her final year at school. If by God's grace she clears her exam, I am determined to send her to college. Your Bavgaru doesn't really like the idea of her sending to the next town and putting her in a hostel. But I don't like to keep a girl at home without educating her. Isn't what I am going through enough? In these times, if a woman doesn't have a degree, she'll come to nothing. Without it, she will have to live under her husband's thumb like a scorpion under slipper. Akaya says that their daughter is in school. They want to send her to college if she clears her school exams. From her experience, Akaya firmly believed that these days a woman needs education, otherwise she has to live under her husband's thumb like a scorpion under a slipper.